anti-fascists and the anti-racists were attacked by Greater Manchester and Metropolitan Police forces. There are a number of deeply serious, outstanding issues that relate to the way in which the people of Bolton and the anti-fascists and anti-racists who came into Bolton that day were treated. Behind me here is a small selection of the photographs that were taken on the day by anti-racists and anti-fascists in this square. On the right here, would somebody like to come and hold that up for me a minute, please? Just somebody come and show the picture. Thank you very much. That's brilliant. That one on the right. What's your name? Jackie. Are you from Bolton? Right, Jackie from Bolton is very kindly holding up this picture here. This is a picture of a tactical aid unit officer from Greater Manchester Police raising his baton just before he assaults a 63-year-old trade unionist who was in the square that day. The issues relating to the policing, relating to the assault of that man and the 5 men who stood around him to try and stop him being battered by the police, are outstanding. A GMP, Greater Manchester Police investigation into why that man was assaulted by the police and then charged by the Crown Prosecution Service for assaulting them. The issues surrounding that case remain outstanding. Most recently, I need another photographer holder, please. Somebody come up and hold a picture for me. Thank you. And I need one more person up here right now, please. Can I have one more person up here right now to hold this? Thank you. What's your name? Joan and Jane and Jackie. The 3 J's for justice. See, it's all falling into place. Okay, so that's the moment before this man was assaulted by Greater Manchester Police, then arrested, and then charged with assault. 5 months later, when video evidence was revealed which demonstrated that that was a lie, that that man had not attempted to assault the police at all, the case against him was dropped on the steps of the Bolton Magistrates Court here. Justice4Bolton was there that day. Very shortly after that, an investigation opened into the policing that led to this man's injuries and charging. Most recently, that case has gone all the way to the Royal Courts of Justice in London. This is a photograph from July at the Royal Courts of Justice in London. And you can see here, Justice4Bolton is supported by the Orgreave Truth and Justice campaign, which has been going since 1984. There's an iconic photograph being held by, what's your name? Kev, over here on the left. And here we are in a continuous historical stream, outstanding policing in 1984, an attempt to criminalise trade unionists, fighting for their jobs in Orgreave, and here we are in Bolton, 5th anniversary today, fighting for justice 5 years on and resisting the attempts to criminalise protesters. In Bolton it was protesting against fascism and racism. It was an attempt here in Bolton. And the police put up a big block over here to stop people. The 1,000+ people that had come couldn't get into this square from over here. They put a big barrier down the middle. They had the scum of the EDL on that side, and then they pressed in here and attacked the anti-fascists. There's another example from the TAU. Can I have somebody come up and hold this picture for us, please? Anybody? Thank you. Now we're breaking the JJJ. We have a JJB now. This is Bernie. She's the branch secretary of Bolton UNISON. Thank you, Bernie. That's an example, attempt to try and stop us all the way. When we arrived in the square at 9 o'clock on the morning of the 20th of March 2010, around the back here, what you could hear was the sound of starving police dogs that were in vans being held back here. This is one of those pictures. You can see on the right all the police lined up ready to press in, and starving dogs that were set on people. One of the anti-fascists was actually bitten by a police dog that day. He, along with 2 other anti-fascists, received a 5-figure payout from Greater Manchester Police. That's where we are at the moment. One more person, please. Hold this. It's going to be an all-woman lineup, I can tell. Okay. Hard to believe it, but that is me. At 1 o'clock in the day, I was reading a message from the General Secretary of the Trade Union Congress, Brendan Barber. I was about where the man with the light blue peak cap on, the black guys behind you, I was about where you are now, when the police came in and lifted me off my feet, tactical aid unit officers, took me out of the square. You can see how I was handled. I sustained an injury that took 2 years to recover in my shoulder. They put me into a suicide watch cell in Bolton Police Station for 11 hours. And while I was in that police station, they raided my home under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. They then put myself, Wayman Bennett, and Paul Jenkins, 2 other anti-fascists. One of them is the Joint Secretary of National Unite Against Fascism. The other led Unite Against Fascism's success to get rid of Nick Griffin in the European elections last year. The 3 of us were put under investigation for conspiring to incite violent disorder. We were kept under investigation for 8 months. The minimum sentence for a conviction on such an investigation is 5 years. I have not been put into jail, and I've got no intention of going to jail, and neither does any other anti-fascist or anti-racist, because protesting against racism and fascism is not a crime. And we, when they came in and attacked us in 2010, as far as we can tell, when you think about it, when you think about what happened, it was the thin end of a wedge that got shoved in to try and start the process of criminalising protesters. It had started in 2009 when about 30 young men from Muslim backgrounds were attempt to criminalise them for protesting against carpet bombing of Gaza took place in London. It happened again in October 2009 in Manchester when they set dogs on anti-fascists. But in Bolton, that was a very, very serious and concentrated effort by the GMP and Metropolitan Police. And there is something very odd that you need to know in all of this. At 4:30 in the afternoon that day, BBC Online was carrying a report that said that the leaders had been charged with inciting violent disorder. At 4:30 that day, we hadn't been charged at all. But that went out on international media. And you can all imagine the consequences personally and in terms of their work and everything else for those people that were accused in such a way.